Hey, what's up? My name is Mitch Klein and welcome to another video. Recently I released my EP Blindness on Whiter, including some cool remixes by Lake Avalon and Axel Haube. The EP consists of 4 tracks, Blindness, Trial and Error and those 2 remixes. And in this video I will be showing you how I made Blindness and the process of it. I will be showing you the arrangement, the drums, the main synth, the bass line and other important elements. So here I have some markers, so you can see what happens in the track. So obviously it starts with the intro. And then after 16 bars, hi-hats come in. Then after 32 bars the bass. And after 64 bars I decided to start the break. The break lasts for 30 seconds or something, 16 bars, and then there's the drop. After 16 bars and the drop, I always try to give it some more extra energy, and I did this right here with some rides. Then again, after 16 bars, a bit more minimalistic. Building towards the break. And after 16 bars, the break comes in. And this is a pretty long break for my taste. But I wanted this track to evolve and take you like into a story, so. Then the bass comes in after 16 bars. Give it a little bit more tension, which you can feel if you play it like in a big club. Then some claps come in. And then hi-hats. And then 8 bars later it starts to build up with some snares. Drop goes on for 16 bars, like in full effect, full energy. Then after 16 bars I decided to cut to the rights. And then after 16 bars, so 32 bars in total, the outro starts. And they also chose to have a pretty long outro, so if you can mix it in with the next track, it will smoothly fade out. So here, bass cut, and then this goes on for a minute, I think. So this is quickly how the arrangement is built up. You can see I have automation clips right here. For the master volume, and an EQ bend. And what I like to do is to create a little bit more tension in the breaks to lower the bass a bit. And in the second break, like the long build-up break, to also lower the volume a bit. So the crowd won't notice really that the volume is going lower because it's in such a long period of time. But it makes the contrast when the drop hits much more impactful. So this is at 80% and this is from 69%. So the contrast between these volumes is pretty big. And then it kicks in just a little bit more. So for the drums, it always starts with a kick, of course. I made a kick in kick 2. But after a while of road testing and some feedback from another producer, I decided to layer it with another kick to give it a little bit more punch. I did a tutorial about creating a kick in Kick 2, the program that I use. So if you're interested in seeing that, then you can check it out. I have some hi-hats layered right here. First one this, with a slight delay. And then a head that's a little bit harsh. What I did with this harsh hi-hat, I put some effects on it to create it a little bit more of a shaker, because this is how it sounds without. Very attacky. And this transient processor, you can lower the attack. So it sounds more like a kind of a shaker. Put the limiter fast distortion on and also a delay to give it a bit of the groove. The clap is pretty basic, but the second clap is placed right in front of the kick. Yeah, I really like the vibe of how it sounded. Then here I made a white noise roll. It's just a 3 times ask set to white noise. And then at the volume you can alter the envelope. And here I automated the decay and the filter. So if we tweak the decay, you can see that this happens. And this is especially cool in moments that you want to build like a transition or something. For example here. So the filter opens up, the decay opens up. And then you can also create a sort of a downlifter when you go back down. But here in the big break, it works really good. You can feel the tension rising when you add stuff like this. So that's what I like to use. And after listening to the track a lot, I realized there has to be more cowbell. So I added cowbell. Just to get it more groovy going. some little percussion and tom stuff here. And in the drop, some rides. I always like to use them to create some more energy. And here you can see a channel pitch, and that's the automation of the pitch of the ride. So when the drop ends, the pitch of the ride will go down. And that way you can introduce a new part of the track. And then another part is these background heads and percussion. This gives the track a certain feel from the beginning already. And I got this loop from, it was a bank in Contact. And I really liked the sound of it. Pitched it down a little bit to create a little more deeper vibe. And then this one plays throughout the whole track. So the bass has actually two layers. One is the sub layer and one is the mid bass layer. This is the melody that I played. It was played through the Moog Subsequent to get that fat bass sound. And here's the sub layer. You can see that it's heavily sidechained right here. And the other one is the mid bass. All the low end from the mid bass is gone, so that it won't interfere with the sub. For the sub, I only applied an EQ, cut off everything above 200 Hz. And for the mid bass, there was some more room for effects, because we got rid of the low end, and you always want to have your low end in mono. So on the mid bass I could apply some reverb, some stereo delay to make it sound a little bit wider, and a little EQ, cut off some unwanted frequencies, and of course the really lows. A Panomatic, I use this one for the build-up, and also a supercharger to make it a little bit more crisp. And here the Panomatic is coming in, and the LFO speed of the Panomatic is increasing. So you can hear it bounce from left to right. Little extra attention for the build-up. And with this filter automation, I can choose when I want the bass sound to be fully open. It's like, for example, towards the drop, to create a kind of an impact. One thing that I added to create a little bit more impact is another synth. This is made with the 3x Ask from Fruity Loops. And it's basically the same saw sound, but because I now have a layer of it, I can stereo it really good. So in the end it gets a little bit more fatter. Also put quite the same effects on it as the other mid bass. Now for the synth. These are the notes that I played. And these are basically the only is basically the only melody that's playing throughout the whole track. It's playing 4 times the whole track. And it's from CS80. I started with the preset control horns, and then I tweaked the parameters a bit to get the sound that I wanted. What I did with effects is the supercharger. Give a little more crisp. Of course, reverb, a little bit EQ, a delay, a little bit of bit crush. For that high edge. And the limiter. The reactor's turned off, but I'll show you why it's in here. Throughout the whole track there are these things coming in. And also in the drop when the normal synth is playing. Then in the next 8 bars, the melody with the effect is playing. And this way I created a lot of options just from one melody to use in the track. So I use this thing called the Molecular. It's from Native Instruments. And what it actually does is it combines a lot of effects to create really weird sounding stuff. So when I was playing around with this, and it sounded so cool to me that I recorded all those crazy effects, and then I put them in the track. Yeah, that's basically what these things are. It's just a melody with a whole lot of effects on it to create something interesting and new. Another thing that's important for this track is the organ sound, which you can hear from the beginning till the end. I didn't want to have like an arpeggiator with a saw synth or something, because I wanted to have something more unique and recognizable. And that's why I picked an organ. And you hear it across the whole track. But of course I use some automation to create some tension in the build-ups with it. So the reverb fades it a little bit away, and then when the drop comes right here, it's dry again. Same for the second drop. And then in the second drop there's also a pad layer coming in. And it's playing the notes of the bass. You won't really hear it really loud in the track, but it adds to the whole vibe. Also from the break I added some strings. And those are basically following the organ. But for me personally, these kind of things add a little depth to the track. They don't have to be really loud into the track, but just subtle, and it changes the whole vibe. As you can see right here, I used a synth for the second drop. That's because I wanted the second drop to sound slightly different than the first drop. So this was the walkthrough of my track Blindness. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys liked the track. If you like it, you can find it on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, whatever. Don't forget to give it a like because it helps me boost the algorithm. And I'm planning to do a next video of the other original track of the EP called Trial and Error. And if you like to know something about that track, please leave it down in the comments and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.